I'm Lauren with Pack Hacker, and in this video we're taking a detailed look at the TOM BIHN Smart Alec 2.0, which I've been testing for the last 2 weeks. Let's dive in. Like a lot of Tom Bihn's gear, this comes in a couple of different materials. So we have the ballistic here, which I'm going to bring a little closer to the camera so you can see. It is a 630D ballistic, and then this is a 200D Halcyon on the inside. And then they also have other materials. One of them is a 420D Spectron, and then again the 630D ballistic. Couple different like colorways and things like that too, which is also very common for Tom Bihn. That's not, you know, an unusual thing for them to give you a lot of different options. So very kind of sleek look on the outside here, but it definitely has a bit of a sporty vibe to it. And I think a lot of that is just because of this bungee lashing on the front. So this here, it is adjustable and it's actually removable as well. So if you untie this, you can remove the bungee from the front. So if you didn't want it, you could remove it. I liked having it on the front here. I ended up using it I was out in the rain. When the rain stopped, I put my rain jacket in here so that I didn't stick it in with my other gear and get that all wet. You could as well, if you wanted to, move it up here and add it to these attachment points and use that as like wherever, you know, you attach your gear, if you prefer for it to be on the top, something like that. It's kind of up to you how you want to have this configured, or you can just remove it altogether. These loops are also available if you wanted to like attach a carabiner and attach gear that way. So it's a little bit customizable on the outside, which is nice. We also have holes down here for drainage, which comes in handy when we get into these pockets on either side. We'll talk about those in a second. But otherwise, apart from like the bungee on the front and then the lash points on the top where you can add that bungee, there's nothing else really going on the outside here. A little Tom Bihn logo, which is pretty standard, and then YKK zippers throughout. Kind of standard hardware as well, with like the Duraflex hardware throughout this, Nexus, Woojin, that type of a thing. So pretty subtle exterior, but it does, like I said, have a little bit of a sportier vibe to it. If you're familiar with Tom Bihn bags, this back panel is going to look pretty similar to their others. If you're not, it's very, very flexible. That's something that they do well. With these shoulder straps here, it's a pretty decent amount of padding, and the thickness isn't too crazy, but it is pretty substantial. I find that I like my bags to be a bit more flexible, and this lends really well to that. It just curves well over my shoulders and just feels nice on, even when the bag is really heavy. We also have this air mesh kind of looking padding on the back here. It's a little bit on the scratchier side, like the mesh isn't super soft, but it wasn't uncomfortable to wear when I was wearing like a tank top or something like that. So I didn't have any issues, but I did feel like it did a pretty solid job at keeping this back panel breathable, which is something that's really nice if you're going to be wearing this for long periods of time. There's also a removable hip belt down at the bottom. It's just gatekeeper clips. It is a really simple hip belt. They do have a thicker option that you could buy separately, but you know, that's kind of like an add-on feature. Me and gatekeeper clips are not friends, so this is more of a user error thing than anything, but they are quite simple to remove. It's just kind of grab it, take it off, that type of a deal. So if you don't want to use it, you don't have to use it. And then we also have a sternum strap on a sliding rail, again, removable if you don't want to use that either. I found that between all of the features here, it was very comfortable to carry. I didn't feel like I needed the hip belt, but it's going to be up to you if you wanted to add on that slightly thicker one for a little bit of added comfort. And then if you want to use this with your luggage, there is a luggage pass-through built into the back panel as well. This is the backpack on. You can see it fits pretty well on my torso here. It doesn't feel like it's pulling me back or anything. I do feel a little bit of pressure down at my lower back, but it doesn't really feel that uncomfortable, so I wouldn't really knock it for that. But like I said, with these straps being like the thickness that they are and that sort of like softer mesh and flexible padding, I do find this bag really comfortable. If you wanted a little bit of extra structure on this back panel, there is a frame sheet that's sold separately, so that's an option. I personally don't feel like I need it, so that's more of a preference thing. If you're finding this video helpful, hit subscribe so we can keep making content to help you travel smarter. Going into the organization, we have only 2 external compartments on this, one of which, I mean, they're actually the same on either side, so you have that like same zipper, but they serve different functions. So the one on the left here is going to be what I kind of treated as my water bottle pocket. So if I open this up, you can see you get pretty decent visibility. I have a, what is this? I think it's an 18-ounce water bottle. Yeah, 18-ounce water bottle in there. It's just a Yeti. It fit in there with room to spare. I also fit a 30-ounce water bottle in here. This pocket's pretty big. You can see when I stick my hand in there, you can see I can get all the way down into this bottom corner. So let's say, you know, you stuck your water bottle in there and it leaks. When it gets wet, it kind of gives that water a place to go. This is also, you know, if you put something in there like an umbrella or something like that, like the water's not going to get as trapped in there, which is nice. But with this amount of space, you can really put so much in here. It just kind of depends on what you're looking for. And if you want to give yourself a little bit more like visibility when you're packing, there's this little buckle here, and it's kind of like a not removable gusset, but it's kind of like a gusset, and then you can open the gusset, and it gives you a little bit of a better look at the inside of that pocket. I never found myself using that. I didn't really find it pretty functional or very functional. There is like a little hole here, so theoretically, if you like had something smaller down here, it could slip through that pocket. I never ran into that problem, but like I said, I largely use this pocket for a water bottle anyway. There is an O-ring. I think there's 6 throughout this bag. So if you wanted to attach a pouch or something here, Tom Bin has a ton of those. That's a huge feature with them, is that sort of modular gear storage and things like that. On the other side here, like I said, same pocket sort of style, but when you open this up, you can see there's a few pockets on the inside. So I kind of tossed everything in here. This was sort of my like quick grab dump pocket, because there's not really another one on here. There's no like yoke pocket on the top or anything like that. So in here, I put my wallet, I put my phone, I have a pair of sunglasses here, and then there is another O-ring up here, which is where the key leash that comes with the bag was attached. But if I wanted to, I could detach this from here and put in the O-ring in the other pocket. So kind of decide where you want your keys to go. You can also put them in the inside if you're feeling crazy. It's very flexible organization. If you wanted to keep your keys organized, that pocket there is a good spot to do it. But there really are only, it's this pocket here, which if I stick I have a regular size iPhone, if I stick that in there, it kind of gives you an idea of how big that pocket is. A Pro would fit in here, or a Max rather. So that is an option. If you wanted to store a larger phone there, and then there's 2 pen slots. I don't use pen slots, but if you do, it's nice to have them. I think this pocket for me, having a little bit more organization might have been nice. And in that case, using those O-rings to add additional pouches or something would be good. But it's really just because like the things that I access the most frequently, which are like my phone, wallet, keys, and my headphones, those just kind of dumped in here and just floated around because the pocket's so big. Usually there's another pocket that's a little bit smaller where you can store those types of items. It's more of like a nitpicky thing than anything, honestly. I wouldn't really knock the bag for that out of that like preference for myself. It's just keeping that in mind if you're someone who really likes really detailed, modular, or nuanced organization. Now into the main compartment. Before we get into there, I am gonna show you a sneaky little pocket that goes into the main compartment, and that's this one right along the back panel. This is a standard YKK zipper. There's a zipper pull here. If you do want to add zipper pulls to the rest of the bag, Tom Bin does send them with it. I generally don't add them, but this zipper pull here is just like a little paracord with some plastic on the end, very easily grippable. This opens up, and then you can see my laptop in here. Remember that for later. Basically, you have 2 different ways to get to your laptop, but I'll show you where it looks like in the inside in a second. When I open this bag up, it has like a U-shaped opening, and it gives you a really nice packable bucket space. So this is actually a 26-liter capacity bag, and it's the same size as their Synik 26, but the Synik 26 has a lot of organization and a bunch of tiny pockets on the outside. This is definitely the more like pared down version of that. They have kind of the same like silhouette, I guess. So if you like the size and you like the silhouette of the Synik, but you don't really love the organization or the access, this is a really good alternative. It is just this top-down access, but like I said, this bucket shape is actually really convenient to get in and out of. I packed for a couple of different like weekend trips / overnights in this thing, and every single time I just kind of dropped everything in there and it was good to go, and I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. So with this, I did feel like I had a lot of space to work with, which was good considering the size of the bag. So I think it would lend itself really well to being like a personal item / everyday driver. I never really felt like it was too big that I couldn't fill it on an everyday basis if I had stuff that I needed to carry. So that was kind of a nice feature as well. But the inside is organizationally, like it's not too crazy. You can see some more O-rings on the side here, and then more on the top lid as well. And then this is where that laptop is. So it's just a Velcro closure and then a sleeve. There's a very small amount of a false bottom on this sleeve, so when I set my bag down, I don't feel like my laptop's hitting the ground and I can't hear it, but it's not like super substantial if device safety is like a huge thing for you and something to keep in mind. In this case, this little strap keeps the laptop from falling out when you're jostling the bag around, but if you wanted to get to the bag, get to your laptop without opening the whole main compartment, then you can easily unzip that side pocket and pull that out. So nice feature to have the two different ways to access. I just think I personally like having that because I get my laptop in and out of my bag a ton. If you don't want to use this little strap here, it also Velcros to itself, so it's not just like flopping around and catching on stuff, which wasn't something that I thought I would care about, but it's like actually a really nice quality of life feature. I was like, oh, that's kind of surprising. Like it feels like a very simple ad, and it added a little bit of like niceness to the bag. But the rest of this bucket space is empty. So we do have like one pocket on this side here, which I currently have a tech pouch in. They also, like in their video on their site, they put a water bottle in here. You could do that if you're feeling crazy. I mean, I don't really feel like it locks a water bottle in place a ton. So that is another thing, like, you know, there's the water bottle pocket on the outside, but there's nothing like super exterior to store that. I don't know, I wouldn't really, again, knock this bag for that. But with the organization on the inside, really, apart from that slip pocket, you just have this pocket on the top here. So it is a dual zipper design. When you open it up fully, you can see that it's sewn in the center. In here, I have a couple of different like makeup items because I wasn't sure if I was gonna need them today. And then on this side, I have chapstick and my headphones. Those are two items that, like I mentioned earlier, could get lost in that like side pocket without that detailed organization. But what I do like about this pocket here is that even though it's segmented, you don't have to open up the entire pocket every single time you want to access either side. You can leave the zippers in the center and then only open up one, like as far as that pocket goes, and then close it. It's kind of a small quality of life thing. It's nice because a lot of the times when they are segmented pockets, brands won't give you two zippers, so you have to open the whole thing, but it's a very small thing, but it shows their attention to detail, I guess. So there you have it, the Tom BIHN Smart Alec 2.0. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel, and we'll see you in the next one.